This is the Real Estate Investing Abundance Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Allen. I know you're excited to get into today's show, but I have a very exciting announcement to share with you before moving to the show. We've just launched a complimentary and comprehensive webinar that, among other things, shows you how to legally use passive real estate investing to reduce your taxes, recession-proof your nest egg, and take the sting out of inflation. If you are curious to learn more, go to stevetalker.com/webinar. It is complimentary and only takes a couple of minutes of your time. Once again, that is stevetalker.com/webinar. I'll see you in the webinar. Enjoy today's show. Hello, enlightened investors, and welcome back to Real Estate Investing Abundance. I'm your host, Dr. Allen, and I thank you so much for being with us again today. It's always my pleasure and happiness to be with you. And today we are going to be looking at a topic that is near and dear to all of us as real estate investors as we look into this aspect of lending. And with us today is Jake Harris, who has a no-cost lending tool to restore trust. And with his background from 15 years owning national commercial and local residential construction remodeling companies, Jack created a next-gen payment platform that eliminates the stress and restores trust and speed for any project. And all of us can certainly relate to the need for those three factors there. So, Jake, thank you for being with us, and take us into the show and share with us a memorable experience that helped you to be who you are today.
Yeah, so I think that my love of cash flow, and it really was a love that stemmed out of pain, and I recognized very quickly that I was going to need to pay more attention. And somebody mentioned it this way: they said, if you want to get the gold, you've got to fight the dragon. And I recognized that I needed to get this dragon of cash flow under control. And when I started to really work with it, I initially ignored it, and it grew, and it bit me in the tail. And then I started to acknowledge there were actually 3 or 4 different projects where I made mistakes, I made assumptions. I started to lose sight and lose control of this cash flow process. It got me in a world of hurt because I'm a very honorable person, and I always make sure that my subcontractors are paid and my material providers are paid. And so I would go without, and they say nothing's a better teacher than a hungry belly. I would go without in order to pay off all my people, only to recognize that I had made mistakes and let this dragon get away from me. And so that was probably the thing that really drove me not to run away, but to turn and face this dragon and then try to accomplish it. Because like I said, cash flow is the dragon we all have to face if we want to get the gold. And that's something that's really crafted where I am here today. Lots of examples, but they're all around bad cash flow assumptions, bad cash flow examples. That's it.
Well, I can certainly see how in a general contracting business, it would be so easy to overlook that aspect of cash flow. I think that's not unusual to general contracting, but in a general contracting situation, there is so much going on in terms of subcontractors and timing that and paying them and coming up with the cash to pay those people, as general contractors are not often paid until after jobs are done. So I can see why that would have been an extraordinarily huge challenge, and how easy it would have been to ignore that aspect of cash flow and think, oh, I can take care of this. As long as my contractors are taken care of, who needs cash flow? And of course, we soon realize that without cash flow, there really is no business. So how did you learn that lesson that you have to take care of cash flow? And like I said, I don't think this is just something special to general contractors. I think all entrepreneurs are faced with this, and at some point in time, we all have to learn that without cash flow, there's nothing there.
Well, and to your point, I find that a lot of our industry, especially those in the service world, are very tactile. So they understand 2x4s, they understand gallons of paint, they understand sheets of drywall. They don't understand abstract concepts. So when you start talking to them about taxes, depreciation, marketing aspect, it's a stretch to get them to understand abstract things that they can't put their hands on. And so I believe that the tactile people gravitate toward this industry and these industries because they can put their hands on it, and they get done at the end of the day and they say, look what I did. This is the thing that I accomplished. And abstract things frustrate them. But cash flow is absolutely an abstract. And when people run projects that are in any type of duration, they really need to be siloed. They need to be isolated from each other. Whereas if you throw everything in the pot, and there's many, many examples in this, and many, many financial advisors that will say the same. You know, business could have $350,000 in the bank, but they're $1 million in debt because they've just commingled everything, and they're not isolating and separating that situation. So I think that it's more than just a laziness or a management by abdication. I believe it's actually a brain exercise that they're not, because the general path is they're tradesmen, they're foremen, they're tradesmen. They work for somebody else, and they get angry with somebody, and then there's such a low barrier to entry that they just change the magnet on their truck, and all of a sudden they're in business for themselves. And that's what causes this explosion of small entrepreneurs, and yet they're all in trouble from day one because they don't understand how to handle it. So the grandfather solution was checkbooks. I would open a new checkbook for every project, whether I was working, and this started with a commercial project in Utah where I was working for a hotel owner. And I said, look, I don't know you, you don't know me. Let's be friends. We're going to open a checking account for this project and isolate and separate those funds only for that project. And I can give you a budget, and you're going to fund that money, and then I'll spend everything directly out of the account. Well, what I found was the reduced stress on me as an organization, as an organizational leader, and my team was so low, because we didn't have to worry about money. We didn't have to rob Peter to pay Paul. We didn't have to worry about the next draw. The funds were there in the account to fund the next phase of the project and the next project. And I love that so much. And when I transitioned and started doing residential work, smaller projects, same problems. And I said, there's something here. Like, if we can actually isolate funds and treat them as separate accounts, that's the opportunity. And then 2019 was here, and I looked at a friend and I said, why don't we have this on our phones? We can track a pizza, but we can't track a project. There's something wrong here, right? This is the wrong use of the technology. And when blockchain and all of the other technologies started to come out, they made it available for us to do what we now built with Build Wallet, which is to take this isolated account situation, program where the funds are going to go, and then release it. So when you're talking about passive income, when you're talking about real estate investing and restoring this trust is mutual dependability. You have to be able to trust that who you're dealing with. Well, trust usually only comes after years and repeat events. But if you have a program and rails established, then the money has to go where you said it was going to go. It can't go anywhere else. This is like a train. It has to stay on the rails. And that's what I'm in love with, because I think that restores trust. That's the mission statement of our company. It's one word, and we just changed the S to a $, because to trust somebody financially allows us to move at speed, allows us to focus on the work, because as a contractor, as a broker of services and material, my joy doesn't come out of moving money and handling paperwork. I like to see finished projects. I like to work with my subcontractors. I like to see happy clients. And so that was really the goal, was to create a platform that eliminated this from lender all the way down to laborer. Everybody signs up and everybody plays on the same platform. And like we said, $0 to lenders, because it's a transaction fee. It's just a simple credit card swipe for the receiving party, which they're already used to if they get money digitally anyway. So the whole concept was, take what people are not good at, abstract financial cash management, digitize it, put rails and framework on it, and then release it back to the industry so everyone could use it. It's kind of like the lightsaber in the hands of the young Padawan. They get to be effective and efficient without getting in trouble.
I'm beginning, I think, to get the concept of what Build Wallet is, but just take us through it step by step in terms of what it does and how it is that we as real estate investors can put this to use, because most of us are not general contractors. So put it into the world of real estate investing.
Well, to be clear, the inception of this was a real estate lender. And he's the one that challenged me some years ago and said, Jake, I trust you. I know you. And I think you're pretty smart. Is there a way you can put a padlock on a project? And he was talking about a fix and flip projects, because that's what I was doing. I was working on fix and flip projects. And at the time, I think I had 11 jobs going around. So I had 11 checkbooks that I would pull out on my tailgate and start to use. But he challenged me to do that. And so what this really is, like you said, is everyone, we married project management and digital payments. So if PayPal, which you're familiar with, you sign up for PayPal, you have an account, you transfer money, A to B type situation. And project management, which manages this flow of work and control and everything else. If those two industries got together and had a baby, that's Build Wallet. That's what we have. So we isolate and create every time we have a project comes around, they get their own project account. That's an FDIC insured bank account, because only in 2021 did the government release the rules that banks can now work with financial technology. So every dollar that we have in the Build Wallet platform is inside our banking partner, Evolve Bank and Trust. And they're out of Tennessee. They've been around since 1925. They jumped on it fast and said, we're going to become digital bank. So everything is FDIC insured and backed up and secured in a real bank. So everyone gets a bank account, the project gets a bank account, and then you can actually program where the money is going to go. And then you fund the phases, the work gets done, and then you inspect, and then you release more funds. So it's the same draw process. It's the same release and same verification process. The difference is that it's like taking $1 out of the draw and writing demolition 123 Main Street. That dollar can only go to demolition at 123 Main Street. Whereas right now, without this, that dollar is going to go to the owner. It's going to go wherever. It's going to go to the contractor. It's going to go wherever. And maybe it goes to the demo team. Maybe not. Maybe it goes to the demo team over here. We now have the ability through technology, the interaction with blockchain and smart contracts, to actually program money, program funds, so they can only be used for this. And I said something at a national lending conference, and I'll say it again. I think smart contracts and these wallets are going to eat business purpose lending whole, because you're going to be able to set up an account for any business purpose loan or any business purpose at all, and dedicate funds and then track the funds as they go through that in real time. Not software, not a digital twin, but real time platform transactions. And that to me is just the coolest thing in the world, because you're going to have real control and real fund access to knowing at all times. You can sign in at any point and see everything.
So this is connected to the blockchain then? Is that correct? So
well, it's not in the sense that it's market based, but we use the technology of the blockchain using a stable coin, because that's how you can program your money. Right. So every dollar that comes in every penny that comes in gets turned into its own stable coin. The stable coin moves around the platform into different wallets and different accounts for different purposes. And then when it gets passed off to the painter or the carpenter or the contractor, he pushes the button, it gets turned back into a penny, and then is ACH'd out to his bank account.
So it being blockchain, then everything is recorded, and everything, you can just go right in there and you can see every single transaction there.
Down to the penny.
And you have the ability to dedicate it to not just projects, but to specific contractors or subcontractors on that particular project. Yeah. I haven't done any ground up development here in a while, but when I was doing that, that was a significant issue, and it was contractors who didn't honor that where I had the problems. And who they were mixing their funding, and they were taking my money and putting it on other projects. And when it came time to finish my project, they didn't have the money,
Right.
and
Right.
couldn't finish the project.
And
Uh,
that's a cancer that affects our entire industry.
yeah.
And it's not just construction. I mean, software developers, anybody who's either brokering or working in this situation. It's just, I want to get back to trust with
Mhm.
money, because I want everybody to just play ball the way that they should. And you know this. You could write a book about this, and everybody, nobody would buy it, nobody would do it, nobody would read it. But the opportunity was to create a platform that gives them a real tool. I'm a big proponent of giving people things they can use instantly. Every time I teach, every time I talk, it's like, hey, here's a spreadsheet you can use, here's a template, here's something actionable that you can use. Well, this is the pièce de résistance of actionable platforms, where you can sign up. It's project by project based, so you don't have to put your entire portfolio in. You could use one project at a time, but it's there when you need it. It's dormant when you don't. And I
Yeah.
think that's why I love what we're able to do with programmable money now, with this blockchain banking combination. It's safe and it's programmable. I'm in love. I'll continue to talk about it.
Yeah. Enlightened investors, if you haven't done so already, be sure and click that like button, and also click that share so others can take advantage of the content. And finally, be sure to subscribe so you don't miss a single one of our upcoming episodes. Well, I think we're going to continue to see more and more platforms developed in conjunction to this. And we're going to see, I think, a major paradigm shift in the whole real estate industry as these blockchain formats become more and more available. It's just the way of the future, for sure. And I'm just beginning to understand these and really haven't put any of it into practice as of yet. Well, with any new adoption, there is always pushback. So what kind of pushbacks have you come up against in rolling this platform out?
So, not being from the technology sales arena, I'm a 15-year contractor, started out commercially in hotels and then went to residential. I didn't know what I was doing. And what I found very interesting, and it wasn't until I met some people who had made it and actually educated me on the situation, is that when you've got a product that actually does something, but is kind of a little bit sophisticated, is kind of a little bit complicated, maybe outside of the typical norm, people are going to make you feel stupid. They're going to make you feel like, rather than saying no, or rather than saying I don't understand that, they're going to make you feel dumb. So for the good year after our launch, we had nice conversations, but ultimately everybody came back and said, no, I really don't want this. No, I really don't. And I really had to dive into the reasons why they didn't like it and they didn't want it. I'm like, I don't understand. We're giving you and answering all of these. We fix all these problems. Tell me why and be real with me as to why. And a lot of people started saying, they said, Jake, you're solving problems some people don't realize they have. You're solving you're literally taking their money out of their hands and putting it into a disinterested third party, and they're not comfortable with that. They're not going to do that. And then last but not least, they said they don't understand it, so they're going to make you feel dumb. So anybody who's doing anything new, and I talk about this in the diffusion of innovation, is that people are going to laugh at you. People are going to make fun of you. People are going to make you feel dumb. It's not personal. It's they don't understand it. They can't do it. And so what we found is that a lot of people tell us no, and there's only like 1 out of 10 people who actually do something innovative using that curve, using the parabola curve, right? So I understand that nine out of 10 people are not even my clients, not even a potential client. I have to find that 1% or that one person. And in a B2B relationship, I'm looking for somebody who's trying to get a competitive edge on their competitors. So I don't want number 1, 2, or 3. I want 4, 5, and 6. I want the people who are trying to get an edge on that competition. So finding who my client was critical, because 9 out of 10 people were not my client. And they would give me excuses as to why they wouldn't buy, why they wouldn't sign up, why they wouldn't even give us a shot. But once we dialed in and got it down, things worked out. But contractors still want to commingle money. They still want to take their profit first. They still want to absorb that, and that's just not good business. It's not healthy. It gives them a false sense of stability in their business. And so we continue to have long conversations with contractors and say, look, you're the keeper of the process. This helps not only you as an organization, but eliminates paper invoices from your subs, eliminates paper change orders from your subs, digitizes the whole thing, gets the owner to fund the project. You no longer be the bank. And I said, so I've answered and fixed all of your problems. What's the holdup? And they go, you don't understand. I'm living off my draws. I'm eating my project along the way. At the end of the job, I'm at zero. I can't do what you're asking me to do. And I said, but that's the right way to do it. And they go, I can't do that. I thought as an independent contractor, it was only me that was breaking the rules. Mm-hmm. I found out that's the norm, not the exception.
Well, I can certainly relate to what you are sharing there in terms of developing our network of equity partners and investors. Though it seems very, very simple to me, the passive investing processes in real estate. But I mean, I've been doing that for quite some time, and so it is a simple process. But to nine-tenths of the people that I talk to, they are complacent in the fact that their retirement accounts are supposedly safe and secure in the stock market, and talking to them about what I think is a much safer, much more secure and much higher yielding investment than what they're ever going to get in their traditional retirement accounts is like I just dropped in from Mars, and it's just doesn't resonate with 9/10 of the people that we talk with.
Can I ask a question? Do you know in your duration, you said you've been doing this a long time, in your duration, do you know about when you started to really just where it all clicked in and the money for the project wasn't an emotional attachment anymore?
I don't know if I've reached that yet. To be honest.
I asked a friend of mine, right? Because in construction, we deal in six-figure checks, right? Hundreds of thousands of dollars. And what's funny is that it took 10 years to not think of those draws and those checks as my money, but to think of it as raw material for the project. And what I found is that if you're working with a contractor and they can separate their personal financials with the business financials, and a lot of them can't, but you have to look at dollars and cents for the project as that's raw material for the project. It only belongs to that project. It's nuts and bolts. That's all it is. It's not zeros and ones. It's nuts and bolts, right? I mean, dollars and cents. So it's interesting to me that from a maturity level as in construction and project management, separating that, because getting access to those funds, a lot of people automatically assume that it's theirs. And there's a lot of emotion. There's no emotion tied up in 2x4s or nuts and bolts and screws and bricks, but there's a lot of emotion tied up in money. And I think that there's opportunity, ample opportunity to diffuse the emotions that are tied up in payments and the pain that goes along with them, and the fact that we do that. So again, I think that it's funny to me that the mission statement of the company is the word trust. I'm a financial technology company, and the byproduct, which was given to us by one of our clients, is an emotion. So we're killing stress, we're giving people trust, and we deal in emotions. And I love it. I love the fact that that's kind of God's signature on the whole thing, is that I wasn't smart enough to put this together, but when it all came together, I said, oh my gosh. One of my clients said, when I use Build Wallet, I have trust. And I went, that's amazing. I'm putting that on a t-shirt, and here we go. That's what I did.
Well, I mean, it's a bit different in the equity side of real estate investing. I mean, I have never considered that my money, and it's always been a specific project money. I mean, there's never really been any opportunity to commingle from project to project the way that equity investing is set up. So it's a little different concept there. But we are getting close to the end of our program, Jake. And so if you would tell us just specifically what it is that the product is and how it is that we can get in touch with you to take advantage of that. I know you do have a demo available for that, but just give us a brief overview.
Yeah, so very simply, Build Wallet is a project payment platform. It's a combination of project management software and this digital payment platforms that we're all familiar with. Like I said, those two had a baby. That's the best way I've been able to describe the Build Wallet platform. And we take that infrastructure and logic. The way it works is very simple. It's 3 easy steps: plan, fund, and then approve to pay. So we're really trying to simplify this process and give everybody and de-stress the project, which gets us speed because we're operating in trust. And so again, I think anyone that wants to get into automation, anybody that wants to look into taking their projects to the next level, that's not robbing Peter to pay Paul, because again, if you're doing that, we're not going to be a good fit. But anyone that really wants to take their projects to the next level and look at the next level of systems for payments, for projects, we're there. And buildwallet.com is our website. I would love to show any of our your listeners, your viewers, a demo, walk them through, answer their questions, show them the whole kit and caboodle. We're very transparent. We want everybody to be comfortable. And like we said early on, as a lender, since this is a transaction-based platform, this costs nothing to the lender. This costs nothing to the owner. It's literally paid by the people who are receiving their fee. It's less than a credit card fee. A lot of the subcontractors and suppliers are already used to that. It's already built into their price. And so we're not seeing a lot of additional costs associated with it. It's just replacing our platform with the Visa or MasterCard payment process anyway. So welcome anybody and anybody who's interested, for sure.
Well, sounds like a wonderful product, and a product that that all of us need to be taking a look at. So, Jake, what is the most difficult challenge you faced in life, or one of your most difficult challenges, and how did you come through that time, and what's the major lesson you took from that?
Finding my life's value. And I think for a long time, so I was brought up in the hospitality industry, and so I was brought up with Marriott's Spirit to Serve, and I spent a lot of time thinking that if I took care of others, they would turn around and take care of me. And I was in commercial construction, I was in residential construction. That didn't really hold true. So it really, I got burned a lot. I have scar tissue from relationships. I have many ex-partners that didn't end up well. And what I realized is that I really needed to take care of me so that I could turn around and take care of others. I think Jim Rohn said that, and when I heard that, it solidified my concept of, instead of take care of others so they can take care of you, it's I need to take care of me so that I can turn around and take care of others. And that enlightenment has been great because of all the pain and suffering I've suffered before. And now I take care of me so that I can take care of ample people as much as I can.
Yeah. Yeah, it's rather difficult to give from an empty bucket. And if we don't fill our own bucket, we just can't give to others. Well, Jake, when you come to the end of your life and you find yourself on your deathbed, what do you look back on with your greatest sense of joy and fulfillment?
I was looking forward to this question when you kind of mentioned it. And so I was, hedgehog concept from Jim Collins comes to mind, right? Finding things that you're passionate about, finding things that you're the best in the world at, finding things that you can make money in and drive your economic engine, and trying to identify my value, trying to identify my life's purpose. I started there, but I layered on 3 additional layers. And I layered on, I wanted to look back to this very point. I wanted to look back and I wanted to be able to say that I was the highest and best use to God, family, and mankind. And so where that Venn diagram comes together, God, the highest and best use to God, family, mankind, things that I'm passionate about, things that I'm good at, things that I can make money at, where that Venn diagram came in, it was a very small dot, but it did line up. I did thread the needle. And I believe that is Build Wallet in mass adoption. I'm not interested in the money. I'm a contractor by trade. My service has always been remodels and renovations. I'm not a tech guy. I just think that if we can restore trust in financial project payments and financial project transactions, we'll be able to do so much more. People can relax, people can have a good time, people can enjoy. I think looking back, that becomes my highest and best achievement and offer. And I don't know if you know this. Do you know Leonardo da Vinci's last words?
I did, but I have forgotten what they were.
They haunt me. They do.
Yeah.
When I heard them, they haunt me. So Leonardo da Vinci, according to lore, Leonardo da Vinci at the end of his life said, "I have failed God and mankind by not doing enough." And you think about all the things. Now, what he was talking about was not finishing all of his works, all of his paintings, all of his, because a lot of his stuff was left half finished or unfinished as far as 100%. But if somebody like that can look back at the end of their life on their deathbed and be remiss and feel like he let down God and mankind, man, how much more do the rest of us have to step it up and get to work? But I'm haunted by that because like you say, I don't want to be in that position and have regrets. So identifying the highest and best value that I can offer God, family, mankind, and then really just pursuing it. And when it all came together for me, and I recommend everybody do this exercise to your point of the question, because once everything comes together, it's like playing capture the flag. I've planted a flag for my life, and every decision I make either gets me closer to the flag or farther away from the flag. And the clarity and the simplicity of my life has gotten so simple and crystal because now every decision I make either gets me closer to that flag of that purpose or it's not. And if it's not, I cut it out. And I've cut out friends, I've cut out relationships, I've cut out associations because they're not getting me closer to my highest and best use and goal.
Well, Jake, it's been wonderful having you today. Thank you so much for sharing your platform with us and sharing aspects of your life with us. Enlightened investors, thank you so much for being with us today. You are what make this show possible. So don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And I'll see you in the next episode. Enlightened investors, wait, don't go just yet. I just want to remind you about our recently launched webinar that you will not want to miss. If you're at all curious and would like to learn more about how real estate investing can diversify your investment portfolio, alleviate the anxiety associated with Wall Street swings, leverage your 401ks and IRAs to substantially increase the return on your investment, and do all of this with turnkey, hands-off, passive real estate investments, then you'll want to immediately go to stevetalker.com/webinar. In the webinar, we'll also address the common dubious investment schemes that you want to avoid. To access the webinar, go to stevetalker.com/webinar. I look forward to seeing you in the webinar.
Thank you for tuning in to Real Estate Investing Abundance, brought to you by Steve Talker Capital, a company working for passionate professionals like you to develop financial independence built on solid, passive real estate investments. As part of our efforts to make the world a better place, Steve Talker Capital contributes to activities and organizations committed to better understand the equine. These endeavors attempt to enhance the human treatment of horses worldwide. Steve Talker Capital, working for a world where all creatures, great and small, flourish abundantly. For resources to develop your financial independence, connect with us at stevetalker.com.